Welcome to Melis Fairy. Today we're going to do something different. Something I haven't done before. We're going to talk to ChatGPT about Breath of the Wild.
What do you mean by that?
Now you might be wondering, what on earth is ChatGPT? Basically, ChatGPT is an artificial intelligence tool. Technically, it's a tool that can be used for a lot of things, but it's gone viral for giving some weird answers sometimes. I do want to share a little story. AI in general terrifies me. There's actually a story that has gone viral about ChatGPT. This is gonna seem like a pointless story, but stay with me and then we'll get the video started. Basically, a guy used ChatGPT to get access to a website or something, and ChatGPT couldn't get past one of those I am not a robot screens. You know, those security screens where you have to prove you're not a robot? It couldn't get past it because it's a robot. So it actually contacted customer support of this website and lied, telling the customer support employee that they were a human with a disability and they couldn't actually type in the I am not a robot code. That's the level of intelligence we're dealing with here, and that terrifies me. Having said that, we're not going to go in that deep here. I'm just going to ask some silly questions. I was going to do this about Tears of the Kingdom, but it only has information up to a certain year, which I think might be 2021 or 2022. So it doesn't actually know what Tears of the Kingdom is, and I'll show you. So if I ask, what's the name of the sequel? It says that it's Breath of the Wild 2 or sequel, because things were in the past, basically. That's the only reason why I'm not doing Tears of the Kingdom stuff. We are going to ask some of the burning questions of the Breath of the Wild community, though. And I'm going to start with a very, very important one, which is, who would win in a fight, Link or Revali?
Interesting.
Oh, it's thinking. It's difficult to say for sure who would win in a fight between Link and Revali, as it would depend on a variety of factors such as their respective skill levels, equipment, and strategies. However, in terms of raw power, Link has access to a variety of weapons, runes, and abilities that would give him a significant advantage. Additionally, Link has defeated powerful enemies such as Calamity Ganon and Divine Beasts, demonstrating his combat prowess.
However,
on the other hand, Revali is a skilled archer and has the ability to glide through the air using his riddle powers, which could allow him to evade Link's attacks and launch his own from a distance. Overall, it's difficult to determine a clear winner without knowing more specifics about the hypothetical fight. Well, that doesn't give me an answer. I have a good one. Who was Link in love with, Mipha or Zelda? In Breath of the Wild, Link's relationships with Mipha and Zelda are portrayed as close and important, but it is left up to the interpretation whether he is romantically involved with either of them. Oh, ChatGPT is going to be very neutral about a lot of things, isn't it?
Disappointed!
Mipha is shown to have romantic feelings for Link, and she even crafted a Zora armor set for him as a gift. However, it's not explicitly stated whether Link reciprocated her feelings or not. Zelda, on the other hand, has a deeper history with Link, as she is his childhood friend and companion throughout much of the game's story. The game hints at a potential romantic connection between the two, but it is ultimately left up to interpretation. Okay, he's saying that, I'm calling ChatGPT a he for some reason. He's saying that they're childhood friends. They're not childhood friends in Breath of the Wild. That's a mistake. In the end, it's up to the player to decide how they interpret Link's relationship with Mipha and Zelda, as the game leaves it open to interpretation. Okay, fair enough. How can Link eat rocks? I made a whole video about that. I think it's a fair question. Link doesn't actually eat rocks in Breath of the Wild or any other Legend of Zelda game. That's a lie. He eats them in Age of Calamity. However, Link can eat rock roasts, which are meals made by wrapping raw meat in rock salt and cooking it over an open flame. I don't think that's what a rock roast is. I think we've confused this AI. Additionally, Link can use a variety of materials, including rocks, cook meals, and elixirs using the game's cooking system. However, he doesn't actually eat the raw materials themselves. It's possible that you may have seen some fan-made memes or jokes about Link eating rocks, but this is not something that actually occurs within the game. Yeah, I disagree. Disagree with this one. How about we ask what the strongest enemy in Breath of the Wild is? I'm gonna guess that it's gonna say Thunderblight or maybe a Lino, depending on how it interprets the word enemy. The strongest enemy in Breath of the Wild is subjective and can depend on the player's experience and skill level. However, there are a few enemies that are generally considered to be among the toughest in the game. One of the strongest enemies in the game is Calamity Ganon, who serves as the final boss and is a corrupted version of the game's main antagonist. Calamity Ganon has multiple forms, each with unique attacks and abilities, and requires a great deal of skill and preparation to defeat. It's not that hard. Another strong enemy is the Lino, which is a powerful centaur-like creature that can be found in various locations throughout the game. Linos have a variety of weapons and attacks and can be very challenging to defeat, especially in their stronger variants. Very true. Other strong enemies include the Guardian, which are ancient robotic creatures that can shoot powerful laser beams, and the Molduga, which is a large sand-dwelling creature that can swallow whole and deals heavy damage. I've never actually seen anyone say that the Molduga was one of the hardest enemies, so that's interesting. Overall, there are several strong enemies in Breath of the Wild, and the game offers a wide variety of challenges for players to overcome. Very confused why it didn't mention Thunderblight. What if I just ask? What about Thunderblight? While not the strongest enemy in the game overall, Thunderblight Ganon is considered to be one of the toughest bosses in Breath of the Wild and requires a great deal of skill and strategy to defeat. I suppose, what did I ask before? Did I ask strongest? I did ask strongest, so maybe it doesn't interpret strongest as hardest to beat, and it's more like power-wise, which I suppose is fair. I'll give you that one. I wonder if I ask, what is the best game of all time? If it's gonna mention Breath of the Wild. Okay, it's going on about how it's all subjective. Okay, Ocarina of Time, Super Mario, Tetris. Okay, it's not giving me anything about Breath of the Wild, but it's mentioning Ocarina of Time, which is a fair choice, I suppose. I'm gonna ask another question that I actually made a video on, which is, who is the strongest champion? Based on how it's been interpreting the word strong, I'm gonna presume it's gonna say Daruk, but I'm curious to see, or it's gonna say it's subjective. In Breath of the Wild, each of the 4 champions has their own unique strengths and abilities. However, it's difficult to say which one is the strongest overall, as their strengths and weaknesses can depend on the situation and the player's personal playstyle. That being said, each champion has their own unique Divine Beast ability that can be very powerful in certain situations. It goes on to describe the abilities, which we know. Ultimately, the strength of each champion can depend on the situation and the player's playstyle, and it's up to individual interpretation which one is the strongest. Well, I'm not liking this neutrality here, because obviously it's Urbosa. There's a commonly asked question, which champion died first? A lot of people seem to think it was Revali just because of the way things are presented in both Breath of the Wild and Age of Calamity, but there's no canon answer to it. So I wonder if ChatGPT is gonna be like, oh, there's no way of knowing, like it has been for the past 100 questions, or if it's gonna have an actual leaning towards an answer. Okay, it's saying that it was Mipha, and that's all it says. The first champion to die was Mipha, the Zora champion. She was killed by the Calamity Ganon during the Great Calamity that occurred 100 years before the events of the game. Is this a known thing? Like, do I just not know this? Let me Google real quick. Okay, so Google also says that it was Mipha, but it says that she was most likely the first one to arrive on her Divine Beast and to die. So it's not official. Let me know your opinion on this in the comments, please. Do you think it's factual at this point that it was Mipha? Or do you think it's still up for debate? Well, that was me talking to ChatGPT about Breath of the Wild. It wasn't as spicy as I thought it would be, not gonna lie to you. Maybe we need to earn its trust so it gives more. Anyway, thank you so much for watching, and I'll see you guys next time.